How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? What's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. Thank you very much for joining me tonight, Wednesday, November 11th. I know there's no game this weekend, but that doesn't mean we can't talk college football. I'm going to take your calls. I couldn't wait. I was going to go live at 6, and I'm sitting here. I'm like, I'm ready to go. I just got some footage in from the University of Alabama, from Alabama's practice today. So I'm going to talk about that, let everybody get dialed in, and then we will take your calls tonight. And I'll put the call-in line at the bottom of the screen. If you're just joining us, please hit the thumbs up and like button, and we'll get going. But I wanted to talk some football. I wanted to talk with you guys. You know that I like being here. You know I love what I do. I'm blessed to do what I do. So let's get it started. Let's talk about Alabama football. They held their practice as usual today. You know, Alabama, things don't stop. Alabama's going to continue to grind. And here's practice footage. I just got this in, so I'm going to do the voiceover as you guys see it, as I usually do. So got some great footage right now of the quarterbacks, and let me get that to you, and kind of away we go. Definitely hit the thumbs up button, and then we'll take your calls in just a minute. All right, well, getting some good footage right now of the quarterbacks, and as you can see, we'll rewind that real quick. You got Mac Jones. I mean, the season that he's had has been phenomenal, right? We've talked about him, now the favorite for the Heisman Trophy race as we kind of look to one of the top awards in college football. And then you also got this young man. I still think he needs more opportunities. I can't wait to see when he gets more opportunities. You see how he has that quick twitch. And before we get to Paul Tyson, we'll take one more look at Bryce Young right here. I mean, I just really excited to see what the future holds for Bryce Young. I think he's certainly going to be the guy that gets in that situation, that has that magic, right? That has that spark, that can make a play. You got Paul Tyson. Now, he hasn't gotten any snaps this season, but don't worry. He's going to get his eventually. I think if he just waits his time. I mean, you look at the big arm that he has, right? I mean, let's rewind that right there. My goodness. I think, I'd be curious to see if that's the biggest arm on the team. Right? You're talking about 6'5", 220 pounds. I mean, check this out. Right here. This is the throw I'm talking about. And you can see the zip, the velocity. Right? I mean, that's a dart. More footage of Mac Jones. And I just, the efficiency has really set him apart, I think, this year compared to other quarterbacks across the country. I mean, this guy is almost 80%. Bryce Young on the season, 8 of 15 in his opportunities. I think when we look at him, I looked at that Tennessee game. That's a game where I think we saw a splash of him. Paul Tyson looks big, looks poised, looks polished. Freshman. He'll actually enter next season as a senior, believe it or not, eligibility-wise, in terms of grade-wise, but he'll only be a redshirt freshman, if you can believe that. It's pretty amazing. All right, so let's get we got some footage right now of the defensive lineman, I believe. All right, so you got Justin Abogbe right there getting some work in, number 92. He's been a guy that I think has been productive this season. Absolutely. You got Tim Smith, number 50, true freshman at Alabama, getting in some work. And here is Slade Bolden. I'm telling you, look at these routes. I mean, we're excited when we talk about Javon Baker, but, Slade Bolden certainly getting it going as well. That is Jaleel Billingsley. He's a guy, and we'll rewind that to watch those two guys again. Man, Tim Smith looks good. All right, here's Slade Bolden. He's that perfect slot guy that you need, right? Has the good hands. And Jaleel Billingsley. He's a tight end, but I think he's like a hybrid, right? This is Major Tennyson right here, all right, showing us some footwork. Okay. All right, and Joshua Lanier out of Tuscaloosa. I love how we always get footage of him. That's awesome. I mean, the kid's out of Tuscaloosa, I believe. Major Tennyson going to get up. Devontae Smith getting his work. And I love that these guys don't stop. No game, doesn't matter. Saban said that these guys are even going to get a practice in this weekend, probably Saturday, right? Definitely not going to send them home. Okay, so that's the footage right there from Alabama. And I'll play more of that throughout the show, but I just kind of wanted to start off the show with that. And thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I will definitely take your calls, and call-in line number is at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-0883. I have a few things that I want to talk about before we get to the calls. So if you want to call in, you can call in and wait on the line. But a couple of things that I wanted to bring to your attention. Now, is this game going to take place, right? That's kind of what everybody is asking. And just recently, the SEC, well, it was actually uncovered by the USA Today. All right. They tell us that there's a potential scenario for Alabama and LSU to be rescheduled. Okay. So look at the scenarios. Now, this isn't 100%, but these are some ideas that are floating out. And let me kind of zoom in so you can see that a little bit more. All right. So according to a report by the USA Today, these are some possible scenarios that could theoretically happen within the next couple of weeks. Now, you're looking at scenario A up top, and that would be LSU and Alabama play next weekend. That would be November 21st. And then Alabama and Auburn would continue as scheduled. You would have Alabama at Arkansas move to December 5th. And then you would have Alabama at Kentucky. That's Kentucky's bye week on December 12th. Now, in scenario B, underneath, you have Alabama at Kentucky this coming weekend, right? That would be, the next weekend, which would be November 21st. Then you have Alabama versus Auburn as scheduled on November 28th. And then Alabama at LSU on December 5th. You'd be rotating LSU, one of their games. Then you have Alabama and Arkansas on December 12th. The SEC's championship game would stay on track for December 19th. So, earlier today that, and kind of looking at everything and all the dynamics, and thanks to everybody that's just joining in. We appreciate it. Definitely hit the thumbs up button, like and subscribe. And like I said, this isn't official. These are just some scenarios that are being kicked around. I would love to see the game take place. And I know that Ed Orgeron probably does not want to see the game take place. I know that he said that he wants to play Alabama, and we'll get to that later on in the show. But I just feel that, if there was any year for them to dodge Alabama, it would be this year, because it's a redemption game. You look at the way Alabama has been playing. You look at the way the LSU has been playing. I mean, the two teams just don't line up like they usually do, right? I think Alabama was a 28-point favorite before that game was canceled. So we'll look at it one more time. Scenario A up top, that would be, if this game does come to be played, that would be next Saturday, Alabama at LSU. And then you'd shuffle the back end. Now, this is something else that was really interesting, that this was brought to my attention by our team writer, Tony Tsoukalis. There's actually been a tiebreaker put in place by the SEC. And I'll take your calls in just a minute. Call in line number at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-0883. And this is the tiebreaker. And the tiebreaker has been put in place because we don't know how many games Alabama is going to play. Okay, I'll put that a little larger on the screen. So stay with me, okay? Because this can get a little bit confusing. So the SEC tiebreaker, it's just been in place. If both teams win out, that's Alabama and Texas A&M. Alabama would obviously, if they don't play the LSU game and Alabama continues their regular schedule, they would finish out 9-0. Granted, they win all those games. Texas A&M, they had to win all their games as well. They would finish 9-1. Alabama would have the better winning percentage plus the head-to-head, so Alabama would win the West. All right. In the second option, if Alabama loses a game and Texas A&M wins out, and Alabama only plays 9 games, Alabama would be 9-1, while Texas A&M would be 9-1. Now, yeah, they have one more game, but Texas A&M did lose to Alabama head-to-head, right? So Alabama would still go to the SEC championship game. All right. So this bottom option, if Texas A&M wins out, Alabama has another game canceled and also loses a game, here's where things could get a little dicey. At this point, Texas A&M would be 9-1 and Alabama would be 7-1. According to the SEC rules, Alabama would still hold the advantage over Texas A&M, provided if it reaches the minimum required games, which is 7. Right. So that's kind of the magic number. Alabama has to play in 7 games. And I know it's a lot to take in, but basically, if Alabama wins out, then, you're looking at this team continuing to move forward to the SEC championship game. All right. So, I'll take your calls, but those are just a couple things that I wanted to bring to your attention, because there's so much to go over as we kind of look at, what happened from this weekend. And I'll actually pipe in some audio from the SEC teleconference here in just a minute. And I got some callers on the line. I'll take your calls in just a second. A couple additional housekeeping notes. Please hit the thumbs up button, like and subscribe. We really appreciate you guys being a part of our channel right here on Bama Insider. We've been able to add Mick Gillespie, who's been a fantastic addition to the show. Tony Tsoukalis, our team writer, and Andrew Bone also providing some fantastic content. So thank you very much for everybody that has, been a subscriber. And actually, we just hit 40,000 subscribers right here on our YouTube channel, something that I never knew would be even possible. And just like Nick Saban says, this isn't the the end. This is the beginning. So we want to continue to grow and foster this channel as big as we can get it. We want to dominate, and we want to bring you the best Alabama Crimson Tide football coverage. We're going to take our first call, and we'll do that right now. Hey, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Chris from Birmingham, Alabama.
Hey, Chris. What's up, buddy? Thanks very much for calling in, man. You're on the show. Go ahead.
Oh, man. Thanks for having me, Kyle. Oh, man. You know everyone in this chat, and Alabama faithful all one of these guys so bad. We can taste it. Because if I recall, the last time I called the show, I brought up that whole post locker room rant he had. It's declaring a sign of war.
Yeah.
And we want to answer on those receipts right now, but what can you do? What I feel though, we probably should just move on with the schedule and just play Kentucky this weekend. That's what I think. And go from there. And honestly, if I can, I can paint a scenario to you. For us, it's like we're the royal family.
Yeah.
Auburn is our footstool. LSU is our second class knight at the round table that wants to usurp the kingdom. If I can, it always wants to usurp the kingdom. But unfortunately, the mutiny will not happen. For 8 years, it wouldn't happen, and probably won't happen again. But the other teams can be the throne and other knights of the round table, but there will always be one king and one holder of Excalibur, the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Roll Tide.
Hey, thanks very much, Chris, for calling in. We're going to move to our next caller, man, but we appreciate you calling in. I think you're right. I mean, the other scenario is you just kind of move forward and you just look at Kentucky. So we'll keep everybody posted on that. But thank you very much for dropping in tonight. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Kyle. And what are your thoughts on my whole roundtable way of thinking?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, Alabama is certainly the king. And I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about this. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man, right? And Ed Orgeron did that last year. But if you want to really be the man, if you really want to be the GOAT, you have to do it on a consistent basis. And that's something that LSU is not going to do. You look at the trajectory of LSU this year after a national championship, one of the best college football teams ever. And I mean, I think there's twofold to this. Yeah, okay, maybe LSU couldn't really fill the team, but I also think if there was any time to duck from Alabama, this would certainly be it. And I think from a recruiting perspective, I think from, hey, Alabama hasn't beat us in 2 seasons. I think LSU, we're obviously going to hear that from LSU. We're obviously going to, subtly hear that from Ed Orgeron. And yeah, Ed Orgeron said today, we'll play Alabama anytime, any place. I don't think that's necessarily true. If they can dodge Alabama anytime, it would be right now. Now, there's some times, of course, because LSU is very talented and because they have, similar athletes to Alabama, but this isn't one of those years. No way, no how. Alabama is going to beat the brakes off LSU whenever they play. And, Nick Saban, he's been calm, he's been cool, and he doesn't really have to go out there and say too much because everybody knows he's the man. But I'll tell you this, Nick Saban gets his opportunity against Ed Orgeron, whether that be this next Friday, whenever they play, or next season. Nick Saban is going to lay the law. I'm going to move to my next caller, man, but I think you bring up a great point. Everybody knows that Alabama sits at the top of the table. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it, man. All right, that was Chris from Beham. Appreciate him hitting lead off, and we'll get to our next caller just in a minute. But I mean, Chris is right. Alabama sits at the lead table. They're the alpha. They've always been the alpha. Yeah, every once in a while, the alpha is going to get hit in the mouth, and that's how it is. But, they have to continue to stay at the top. And that's something that LSU clearly has not been able to do. The way that they've been played this year following a national championship is quite frankly embarrassing, in my opinion. So let's see what happens. But the game, everybody's been asking, is the game canceled or postponed? Right now, it's postponed. There's a lot of talk about those scenarios that I talked about earlier, is if Alabama and LSU could play. And really, what difference does it make? I mean, I think Alabama fans want it from a redemption perspective. I feel that I would love to see the game take place, but it's not going to hurt Alabama if they don't play this game. So, let's hope for more college football, because 2020, we need more college football. But if the game can't take place, Alabama's still in a fine position to win the SEC West. All right, here we go with our next caller. Hi, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up, Kyle? It's Cam Best down here in Brunswick, Georgia.
Hey, what's up, Cam? I appreciate you calling in, man. You're on the show. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Listen, first of all, you're right. Alabama will beat the brakes off of LSU. And second of all, Ed Ogeron, he knows this. Alabama doesn't rebuild. We reload, son. And that's something that he knows, and I think that it's intimidating to him. And I'm not saying that, he doesn't want to play a football game, but here lies an excuse. He can get out of playing a football game. He's saying he doesn't have enough players on the team. Do we know if that's true? Maybe, maybe not. But I do know this. Ed Ogeron does not want to play Alabama this Saturday.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, just like I was saying earlier, I mean, if there was any time to duck and dodge Alabama, it would be right now. I mean, Coach Orgeron, he said today, I mean, and I have the audio and I'll play it in just a minute. He said, we'll play Alabama. We'll play them anytime. And I get it. I mean, that's what you got to say. He's never going to, come out openly and say that they don't want to play Alabama. But from a personnel standpoint, these two teams do not match up well this season. Alabama will totally take advantage of LSU in every single way. If Auburn beat LSU bad, and Auburn's, they might be finding themselves or whatever their mediocre team is this year, but, they don't want to face Alabama, not the way that this offense is playing, not the way that this defense has found themselves. If Coach O is running, I mean, I think everybody can kind of see what's happening behind kind of the situation. And maybe they'll have their day. And maybe it won't come in 2020, but in 2021, those two teams still scheduled to play. And Nick Saban, and just like I said earlier, I mean, you've kind of seen a more monotone Nick Saban this year. I mean, when's the last rant, right? I mean, really, there hasn't been one. But I'll tell you what, he has not lost his competitive edge. You've seen it on the sideline, maybe not the press conferences, but you've seen it on the sidelines. This guy wants LSU bad, just from a rivalry perspective. And because last year, I think, left a really bad taste in his mouth, but also from a recruiting standpoint as well. These guys are going after those same type of athletes week in and week out. Sage Ryan was the latest battle that Alabama lost, you could say, but Alabama's still battling for a Brian Thomas and the many other players that are in Louisiana, including Mason Smith. What else you got, Cam? Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, LSU really doesn't want to play Alabama, but another point is, even though Alabama's going to be okay, we're going to be okay. We really need this game. It would have been good for us to have this game this Saturday, and it'd be good if we can make it up, not only because, we can dominate the game, but it'll add to our win-loss record. We need that extra win at the end of the season in a pandemic like this. Next thing I want to get to is Paul Tyson. I seen you play the video clip of Paul Tyson. And listened to Nick Saban's teleconference call, and a guy called in and he said, "What makes Mac Jones so talented? Why is he so accurate with the ball?" And he said that, Mac Jones, he worked really hard. He was under two great quarterbacks, and now he's getting to show it. And that's what Paul Tyson's doing. Paul Tyson is sitting in the wing back, and he's waiting his turn. And when he zipped that ball in the video that you showed, man, I'll tell you what, man, he looks like he could step right in and maybe take these reins over. And, I got a lot of confidence in Bryce Young too. But he showed lots of flashes of greatness. I mean, lots of flashes. But there was a couple times where he was hesitant, and he got a couple of balls batted down. And I'm not necessarily going to grade him off of that. But if you look at Paul Tyson, he's somebody that can stand tall in the pocket, and he can zip that ball across the field. And, man, I can't wait to see Paul Tyson one day.
Yeah, hold on, Cam. I'm going to play that footage for everybody. There, you're going to hear a slight, some slight audio.
Hey, what's good, fam? It's Kyle.
So yeah, let me actually. That's not the right audio that I was looking, or not the right sound. Give me 1 second. I think you're absolutely right. So I'm trying to play it to your point. Let me get this footage right here. Cool. Okay. I do all the editing and stuff by myself, so a lot of this stuff is like on the fly. but I wanted to get, kind of show people who might just be joining in what you were talking about. Now, Paul Tyson is going to be next up after Bryce Young. So Bryce Young's number 9. As you can see, he has that fast twitch, really good ball placement. We haven't seen too much of him, some small sample size, but check out this second throw by Paul Tyson, the one I was talking about. Okay, so that's over across the middle. But look, you can totally see his dynamics right here. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He looks completely poised, and I'm telling you, the arm that he had, it's a big arm. And I appreciate you talking about him, because I think we need to talk about him more, because he's a guy who's certainly working in, to hone in on his craft. Anything else you got, Cam? Final thought?
Yeah, man, I'm just ready to see Paul Tyson get a chance and, getting some of that late game action, maybe some of that fourth quarter trash, that where he can come in and maybe showcase his skills a little bit. I think Bryce Young has had that opportunity. He's got a lot of eyes on him because he's a 5-star. But Paul Tyson, man, he's nothing to, he's nothing to look down upon, man. He's tall, 6'5", like you said. He can zip that ball right across the middle of the field and probably hit some deep balls too, man. And I really want to see Paul Tyson get in there. And another thing is, don't want to keep ranting on, but from what I've seen so far this year, I love Mac Jones. He's still in the Heisman Trophy conversation, even if we don't play LSU, and still in the lead, in my opinion. But the offense, from what I've seen so far, I haven't seen Paul Tyson, but the offense will not roll without Mac Jones.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for calling in. We appreciate it, Cam, and please call again next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Roll Tide to Cam out in Georgia. Appreciate him calling in. We'll take our next caller in just a second. Just like Cam was saying, you got these quarterbacks on the team, and this is footage from today. You got Paul Tyson right here. A lot of people are talking about him, 6'5", 220 pounds, waiting for him to get some sort of opportunity this year, and it's going to happen, at some point, probably not this season. You never know, I guess, right? We saw that, with what happened with Clemson, so I guess never say never. But right now, the backup, the number 2, is Bryce Young, and he's obviously worked for that opportunity. And Nick Saban and Steve Sarkisian feel he is the second best quarterback on this team at this point. But there's nothing wrong with having quality depth, and that's something to be excited about in the future for sure. We'll take our next caller, and we'll do that right now. Hey, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
It's Mike from Jax. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Mike? Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. You're on the show. Go ahead, man.
Hey, listen. Let me first of all say this in regards to this upcoming postponed game, I should say, with LSU. I was listening to their podcast a couple of days ago, and basically these guys, the players, went to a party, and basically 4 of them got infected. And so that's the reason why they've been having problems trying to, do a tracing and all this kind of stuff. So that's how it all got affected. And you're right, everybody's saying the same thing. That basically Orgeron don't want to play Nick Saban. We already know that. And you and I had this conversation before what Orgeron said in the locker room last year, F Alabama and all this stuff. So myself, I'm not even worried about this game anymore because of the fact, let's just put it to the side and just move on from there. Because I don't think with COVID-19 right now, to be honest with you, the way things are going, I don't know if we're going to be able to have, replay this game again down the line. So let's play what we got right now and move forward. Commissioner Sinke already said he got a little ticked off. Did you see his response to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got a little ticked off. He says, look, I don't listen to Twitter. Twitter don't run the SEC. I do. And so in regards to that, so whatever schedule he comes out with, I'm comfortable with that. Right now, Alabama's in good shape right now. Matter of fact, to me, to get these guys some rest because we got some banged up guys, this gives them ample rest. And like Nick Saban said today, we'll go through our same procedures and start preparing for Kentucky. And we will even go ahead and do a practice on Saturday as if, you playing on Saturday, so to keep them in that same continuity flow, which is good. So me, myself, I'm not really worried about it right now, and I really won't. And Cal, I think from all my conversations I had with you, you know how I feel about LSU, like everybody else, that we want to definitely take them to the woodshed and take them out. But the bottom line is the big picture right now. And let's just focus on winning the next game and then getting better on defense and getting better and better. And let me turn my last attention to, this Bryce Young and Tyson thing, man. And I you got a lot of these fans that come in and I don't have anything against anybody. I watched Bryce Young, I'm telling you, for a whole year. And you got to get a kid enough time to get in there, a full quarter, a half of the game to kind of get that rust off. And I'm telling you right now, and I'm saying this today, and I want you, it's already recorded. This time next year, I want you to go back and listen to this recording again and say he was spot on. I'm telling you right now, from watching Bryce Young through our high school and playing all these high echelon schools throughout the United States on week in and week out, man, he hits people on the numbers. I mean, he's got a long throw, hits you in stride, 40-yard passes, all that. So I'm not even worried about that. And you're going to probably see that he's either just as good as Tua and even better on the acceleration. So I'm not worried, but it's just he's got to get some playing time. And that's it. You've made some primary mistakes in regards, because just like anything else, you got to get the rust off. So once Coach Saban give him some time, we kind of get ahead in the game. And, some of these games are coming up now. And, if we lead tremendously in the second half, let him play the second half out to give him some playing time. And that's pretty much all I got right now. But I'm just looking forward, hey, get these guys some rest. And I'm fine with that. Let's heal them up. And let me just conclude by saying this. You remember that guy, Waddle? The guy was on Alabama, the wide receiver that's out for the year. Remember that guy?
No.
Yeah, remember that wide receiver? I'm going to tell you, if everything goes as planned, don't be surprised and if you see Waddle in the national championship game in January. Let's keep in mind, this is he had a broken ankle, right? So if you look at, you go through orthopedics and all this other stuff, and you look at the time to heal and the rehabilitation time frame, do not be surprised in January, Alabama gets to national championship game and play for all the money that you might see Waddle. And that's my last thing I got to say.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate you calling in. I'll talk about your points on the other line, man. But thank you so much, and please call again next time. I think you of course. I love the point about Bryce, and I think we'll look back on a year, and I think you'll be absolutely right on that. So thanks for calling in, Mike. I appreciate it.
Okay, no problem, Cal. Hey, roll tide, baby.
All right.
Roll tide.
Roll tide to you, Mike. All right, that was Mike in Jacksonville. Right. We'll get to our next callers in just a second. We got a 256 and a 205 in the queue. Kyle Henderson, a Bama insider. Just hang tight. I'll get right to you. Definitely hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe. We appreciate it. Call number at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-0883 is the call-in line number. I'll get with you as soon as I can. When you kind of look at the overall picture for Alabama and LSU, I was thinking about this, and I don't think anybody has said this just yet, but if Alabama is, let's just say that they miss out on this game against LSU, okay? Now, and if they win out, if they beat Kentucky, if they beat Auburn, if they beat Arkansas, right? Alabama will be in the SEC championship game played on December 19th. And if Florida has to continue their schedule, they have a makeup game with LSU that would be on December 12th. So think about this. LSU in Florida will play on December 12th. So Florida would have to prep for that game against LSU and then have a short turnaround time against Alabama, whereas Alabama would be off. So they'd have 2 weeks to prep, probably for Florida. Whereas, I think it'd be tougher for Florida preparing for Alabama. So, I think that this game, while we all wanted to see take place, and you kind of want to see that redemption game for Alabama, I think if things do play out, I think it would be better for Alabama in the long run if all that works out. So just kind of a take right there on kind of the scheduling long term if Alabama continues down this path. We'll take our next call starting right now. Hey, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, this is Keith from Huntsville.
Hey, what's up, Keith? Thank you very much for calling in. I appreciate it, man. You're on the show. Go ahead.
Hey, I don't want to really stop the subject on Alabama and LSU, but I will say I want to understand. Kyle, tell me why everybody has a obsession with Ohio State? What have they really done? Why is the whole, I mean, if you watch ESPN, if you watch anything, it's all Ohio State. Why do they even deserve to be in the top 5?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't get it. It drives me crazy. They haven't really played anybody.
Mm-hmm.
What if Ohio State was in the SEC? They played Georgia. They played Florida. They played Alabama. Do you think they'd win all those games? I don't.
Yeah, I think
it drives me crazy how.
I think one of the reasons is because at least this is my take, is you have to talk about somebody from outside the SEC and outside the ACC, because you're always going to talk about Clemson, right? So you're always going to talk about the teams from the SEC. And when you kind of look at the ratings overall, who's a team that you can really talk about from the Big Ten? Right? Who are you going to kind of pull in to the playoff talk? Who are you going to kind of talk about from a national perspective? You can talk about Michigan? Can't, right? You look at what's happened there. So maybe Ohio State fits what everybody's looking for, that other team that could be the playoff type team. They also have Justin Fields, a name everybody wants to talk about. They don't have a coach like Dabo Sweeney or Nick Saban to kind of lead the way for ESPN's flagship press conferences like they do here in Alabama or in Clemson or, every single SEC school, really. So I think that's why, like, you want to talk about maybe that school that could come in and take the ratings away from Alabama and the Clemsons of the world. But also that, Ohio State is a good team. I mean, we saw them reach the playoffs last year.
Do you think Ohio State deserves to be where they're at? I mean, honestly, I just don't get it. I mean, Alabama's played football games. Georgia's played. Florida's played. But it just seems like Ohio State can just walk in there and here we are. We can do whatever we want. I mean, I just kind of feel that way. It drives me crazy.
I've seen them play a couple times. I mean, are they one of the top 1 or top 2 teams? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see at the end. I think they're up there. I mean, let me ask you this: after Alabama, after Clemson, after Notre Dame, like, honestly, who's next? Seriously, I'm asking you that a question. Like, who's next? Who would be your 4th team?
Well, I think Clemson's going to be in it because they just got a lot of players out.
Clemson, Notre Dame, Alabama.
They got the number 1 quarterback. But
that's what I'm saying. I mean, when you kind of
team can just,
when you look at kind of the past teams, I mean, I think it's clear. I think it's Ohio State's the next team. What else you got, Keith?
That's it, man. I just wanted to kind of just get my stress out.
All right. Well, you got it out.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, Keith. Appreciate it. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
All right.
Keith calling in. I appreciate it. Keith's just pissed off about Ohio State, which I get. I mean, but like, I'm asking you, like, when you kind of look, like, who else is there? I don't know. I mean, we're talking, the storyline, tonight is obviously Alabama and LSU, but Keith's just upset about, Ohio State, kind of always being in the storyline. Keith, that's going to continue to happen, buddy. We'll take our next caller right now. Call line is open now. Plenty of room in the call line. 205-850-0883 is the call line number. Call line number at the bottom of the screen. We appreciate it. All right. And we'll take our next caller right now. Hey, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, what's up, Kyle? This is Sam from Alabama, man.
Hey, what's up, Sam? How you doing, man? Good to hear from you.
I'm good, man. I hope you're doing well also, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I was having a great, day. I kind of saw the writing on the wall yesterday with this game, and I'm scared to really think about this kind of going down the stretch as if, this game is postponed or canceled or whatever it is, that more games will follow suit. And, we'll come to some sort of point where, people have to make some tough decisions. I don't think, because going into the season, I always knew that we would get to college football. I knew that Alabama was going to play hell or high water. But now, but my biggest question was, when we got to this point, can we finish the college football season? What's up, though, man? Sam, it's your show, man, so take it.
Well, I believe that, right now it seems like it's it looks kind of rough right now because you look at COVID-19 with what's going on right now. The numbers are going up. The number of deaths and the number of contacts are going up. So there may be a higher percentage of cancellation of games that may come about. And I want to believe that. I believe that they do have a lot of players that came in contact with this virus. I believe that the SEC is taking precautions. I think they're doing the right thing. But the selfishness in me, I don't want to believe it. I just listened to Ed Orgeron in his press conference on Monday. It's almost like he kind of ginned it up. He kind of he put it out there Monday. I think he also said that that they found out last week. I'm like, why didn't you just put it out last week instead of Monday? So I believe that Ed Orgeron and LSU, there's the selfishness in me, right? Believe that Ed Orgeron and the LSU football team are the kings of dodgeball right now, man. They really do not want to face us. I believe that's a selfishness in me, And just listen to his press conference today. He was like, yeah, they was working on Alabama, but he kind of felt like that the Alabama game wasn't gonna take place. So they turned away from that game before they even canceled the postponed the Alabama LSU game. He turned away from that and started focusing on Arkansas. So that's why the selfishness of me want to believe that Ed Orgeron really don't want to play this game. If he want to get out of it any way that he can, I believe, just listening to him, I know he said that he'll play in Alabama anywhere, anytime. He don't want to play Alabama this year. Mm-hmm. I don't think he want to play not this Alabama team, and what Ed Orgeron has, what type of defense they're playing right now. Because they're giving up 400 yards, 500 yards a game or something like that on defense. Mm-hmm. They don't really want to face us. And one thing I think that I wish people would stop calling this a rivalry. I think that they wanted it to be a rivalry. I think that Tennessee and Auburn are our rivals, but they want this game to be a rivalry because I think mainly because of Nick Saban. We got double the amount of wins against them in this series. So I hate to call this a rivalry, but people want to call it a rivalry to kind of build the game up, I believe. And the last thing, man, I do really want to see a lot of other players. I understand that we're in the SEC schedule. I do want to see a lot of players that don't get enough opportunities get some opportunities in the game. You don't have to. I feel like you have some capable players that are sitting on the sideline that could possibly contribute and give the other players some rest, but maybe they don't. Maybe the coaches don't have that trust in them at this time. So, but that's all I got, man. I appreciate you for taking my call, and I look forward to hearing from y'all the rest of the week, man. Appreciate it, Kyle.
Sounds good, Sam. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
All right. Looks like that we're having some people are having some issues going on out there. I'm gonna run a quick test and give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. All right. Will somebody do me a favor real quick? If because it looks like the air is on YouTube's, because nobody's on right now. Will you guys go out and see if there's any other YouTube videos that are streaming that you can access, and then come back and let me know real quick. I'll continue to play through some audio, and then we'll see what's up. But I think overall it's a problem with YouTube. I think we have a caller that will take it. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's going on, Kyle? This is Jared from Buffalo.
Hey, what's up, Jared? I was just asking everybody if there looks like there's some issues on YouTube tonight. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on. I'm glad you got in though. So people can rewatch the rewatch on the show, man. But go ahead. What's up, man? Good to hear from you, buddy.
Yeah, man. Very disappointing week right here. Definitely was looking forward to this football game and trying to get revenge for it. When you hear about what the LSU players did, you get mad at first, and then you kind of realize, well, I mean, like I said, everyone in college right now was doing what they were doing. I mean, these guys are going to parties, Halloween parties, no mask. And then you look at, if you follow some of these LSU players, I mean, they're walking around campus with no mask. I don't know. I don't know who is to blame on this. I don't know if this, of course, the players got to take some responsibility for it, but I don't know if it's also the coach. I mean, what type of rules and regulations do these coaches try to apply to these players during the bye week? I mean, because, like I said, it's college, and, these kids, you can't let them, you can't really put them in a jail cell, but at the same time, it's like, Jesus. I mean, when you got half the team going to Halloween parties with no mask and regulations, and you have all these things that are going on, and I mean, what do you expect? I mean, looking at some of the other SEC teams, it just seems like they just were at the wrong place at the wrong time. But this one, I mean, this was selfish. This was just selfish, and this was just a bad job all around by, I think, the kids and the staff.
Yeah, no, I think, it's going to be tough. I mean, for anybody to stop, these tests that continue, these positive tests, and continue to go forward. I mean, I think, you saw the NBA and people who were able to be in a bubble, so to speak. But I mean, think about all the working parts with the team and everything. I mean, it's just, there's so much that goes into it, and there's so many people to, keep track of where were they, contact tracing. I mean, it's just something that's going to, happen in all these, it's really unfortunate. And I'm kind of worried about Alabama catching COVID at the wrong time, because it seems like Alabama has been one of the programs that's been able to dodge and weave COVID throughout the season. And it seems like it's always been able to, get to these programs. But, with the daily testing, I think that's been able to mitigate it a little bit. But I think it's a matter of time until, it catches that Alabama, and hopefully doesn't catch them at the wrong time.
Yeah, and I have a relative that actually goes to LSU, and I talked to him, and I was talking about what's going on with LSU, what's happening over there. He's like, Jarek, man, it's a hot spot over here, man. It's a hot spot. I'm thinking about just coming right back to Buffalo, because it's too hot. I mean, it's just, kids are just being, they're not kind of taking this seriously, and it's frustrating, but it's a tough thing to deal with, especially around November. It's flu season. It's just a tough situation to kind of say, like, well, we can't put you in a jail cell, but, so you got to do what you want to do. But I don't know. It's a tough situation all around. It's hard to kind of blame the players, because they're kids. These are kids at the end of the day. But like I said before, I feel like, for Ed Orgeron and that staff and a lot of those people there, they have to do a better job of trying to protect those kids, because, the fact that they have no tight ends that are ready to play, the fact that they have, from what I've heard, it's like one running back that's ready to go. They got one quarterback that's ready to go, and they got no long snapper. I mean, that's crazy. The fact that almost half that team is either in contact tracing or they're in it. So I hope that those kids and those players are okay. That's the first thing that has to happen. We have to hope that nothing too seriously happens. But for this game, Kyle, it's just such a tough situation. We've been waiting for this game for such a long time, for about a year, and the fact that we probably have to wait till next year. I mean, it sucks. It's going to suck. And for me, even if we win the championship this year, that's just going to leave like damn, I really wish we played LSU this year.
Yeah, I know. This is the most frustrating thing for me is I can totally see, and it looks like, hey, C. Donaldson, I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much, man. It's like we're not even getting half of the viewers that we usually get because YouTube's having issues. It's always so frustrating because I put so much into this show, and then when I come on and I can't get it, it's like we'll work through it though. But like I was saying, Jarek, I think one of the things that I'm worried about is like LSU is going to be like, well, Alabama hasn't beat us in 2 seasons. So, you want to come to LSU, Baton Rouge. And I think they'll completely play that card kind of when you look at, the greater overview of everything. So we'll just have to see. I think Alabama was favored by 28 points. And the way that Alabama was playing, I think going into that game against Baton Rouge, it would have been another opportunity, especially on CBS, under the lights at Baton Rouge for Mac Jones to really showcase his ability. And he'll get his. And, I think, being optimistic, hopefully we'll just continue to pick up this next weekend. So whether the Alabama plays LSU or whether Alabama plays Kentucky, they'll just continue. But I think it might throw them out of rhythm, or they could get some rest, like Mike was saying, and they could enter, this backstretch really healthy, because besides Jalen Waddle and, Trey Sanders, I mean, this team has been relatively healthy. What else you got, Jarek?
Well, yeah, I think you make a great point with that, is that, the first thing we have to hope is not any rust, because, it's a positive, but it's also a negative at the same time, because, when you're off for such a long time and you kind of forget, you kind of lose that momentum, of kind of learning about the things that you did well, that you didn't do well. You kind of lose all that a little bit, but I think the positive thing is that you get a bunch of rest. You get to try to stay 100% fresh, healthy, and again, you got Kentucky, you got the who do you play? Arkansas? Do we play Arkansas? Yeah,
yes.
You got the Kentucky, Arkansas, and Auburn game going on. Then after that, you got a bye week before you play Florida in the SEC championship game, and Florida is going to be playing LSU, and who knows, LSU could get better, right? LSU has a lot of talent in the football team. They could get better and give Florida a run for their money with a potential upset situation, which leaves Florida banged up for us to play them in the SEC championship game. So, like I said, it sucks that this game is postponed. But if you actually, again, you look at the bigger picture, this is this is actually a benefit for Alabama. And, they lose this game, it's not going to affect Alabama because they're in the SEC. They're in the toughest conference in the country. So again, they can lose 2 games. They could be 7-0 or 8-0, after the SEC championship game, and they'll still be in the college, football playoffs. I think the only thing that is worrisome is, is this going to negatively affect our players as far as them being rusty?
Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, everybody out there, please hit the thumbs up and like and subscribe. If you guys are watching this on the rewatch, I'm sorry you guys couldn't be with us live because of these technical difficulties that YouTube is having. It's always frustrating because we want to put out the best product. But then again, when you're dealing with the internet, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can't control the internet. That's like trying to control, the sun or whatever. So it's all good. We'll continue to be positive. Final thought, Jared, go ahead, man. People can't even get into the phone lines, unfortunately, man. So take it away. You got it. You got a few minutes, man. Take it.
Well, I guess I can talk about the Heisman race. I think we all want to, know how is this going to affect Mac Jones in the Heisman race. I don't think it's going to affect him at all. I think Mac Jones had his Heisman moment with beating Georgia 430 yards passing. With the QBR that he has, the fact that he's on the Joe Burrow streak. I understand you got guys like, Kyle Trask, who had a phenomenal game against Georgia. You got, Zach Wilson. But Mac Jones is going to have plenty. But Mac Jones, there's no doubt about it. He is number one right now in the quarterback race. I think the fact that Trevor Lawrence missed a couple of games is going to negatively impact him. I think Justin Fields, the fact that he's going to play 6 or 7 games. And then you look at the Big Ten right now. I mean, they're a hot mess right now, and games could be canceled for them. You can't tell me that those quarterbacks or some of those players are going to surpass what Mac Jones or Najee Harris are doing right now, because they don't have the games. They don't have the Heisman moment and they don't have the opponents. They don't have the opponent. I mean, Trevor Lawrence might play Notre Dame in the ACC championship game, and maybe that might be a moment. But Mac Jones has the moment. You look at what he's done off the field so far. He's been great off the field. He has everything you want in a Heisman Trophy contender. I think the only thing that he does not have is the big name, right? And if Mac Jones keeps playing the way he is, if he keeps doing the way he is, and if they don't give him that Heisman Trophy, then that thing is going to be considered a joke. Mac Jones right now is the front runner for the Heisman Trophy. He's going to have he's even going to have more moments, right? He has Auburn, that revenge game, and Auburn. Yeah. The way Auburn keeps playing right now, and they continue to win. You beat Auburn, you beat the biggest rivalry, you beat the biggest rival, and there's no question that this is the biggest rivalry in all of college football with Alabama and Auburn. You win that game, and you beat Florida in the SEC championship game against another Heisman Trophy contender against Kyle Trask. How can you deny Mac Jones the Heisman Trophy?
When I look at Mac Jones, we're on the line with Jarek from Buffalo. Appreciate you guys trying to watch the best you can. You can probably watch on the rewatch as YouTube is having streaming issues across the country. Sorry about that. Really nothing we can do. I think you're right, Jarek. When I look at Mac Jones and kind of the moment, I look at the game against Georgia, going up against, what people said was the best defense in the entire country. Now, of course, Kyler Trask did it as well. But still, I mean, these guys – came with it against Georgia. They really got to him. They got pressure on him. They hit Mac Jones. He stood up every single time, got right back up, and threw for over 400 yards and conducted the offense the way that, we've seen in the past, under Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, what Mac Jones has done from an overall perspective, through these first 6 games of the season has been remarkable. I was on Team Mac Jones. You guys have heard me talk about him before. I know there was a camp that really was, unsure about his abilities kind of, because of the way that last season ended. But, he's completely balling out, and he has that leadership. He has that confidence, really everything you want in a quarterback. Final thought, Jarek. Go ahead, buddy.
Final thought here is that, Trey Sanders, I know he's had a tough break, but hopefully he'll be fine. Hopefully he can get back to full strength. Again, he's a good kid. Lucky, he had an unlucky streak going on so far, but hopefully he'll be fine there. As far as some other running backs goes, whether it's Jason, I think it's going to be either Jason McKellen or Rodell Williams. I hope that that one of those guys can step up as that third running back there. That's all I pretty much have for you.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much, Jarek. I'm glad you got in, man, because you're like the final person who was able to get through the call-in line. I literally have like nobody else because, the views are so down. So thank you so much, man. And everybody will definitely check this out on the rewatch. Thank you so much, Jarek. I appreciate it.
Yep, no problem at all, Kyle.
All right, take it easy, man. My good buddy Jarek out in Buffalo. Always enjoy catching up with him. So this will basically be a show that you watch on the rewatch, and I'd appreciate it if you guys would hit the thumbs up button. It really helps our channel get to a larger audience. I appreciate the super chats as well. I'm sorry I couldn't take more calls tonight. It's not my nothing I could do about it. Is more of a YouTube deal, and that's just the way it goes. I put so much into this that a lot of the times I just kind of have to let things go because I'll think about it so much after, because I'm a people pleaser. I want to provide such a great product to, all of our subscribers out there, and you guys deserve it. I mean, you guys, you guys follow Alabama football. Nick Saban's the GOAT. You need the GOAT in coverage, and we want to be that for you. So, when we can't control things like that. That happened, on YouTube or whatever. So it is what it is. Here's Nick Saban. Here's some audio from him today talking during his SEC teleconference.
Yeah, well, we just came off an open date, and I thought we made a lot of progress, had good practices, got some guys healthy, and, we're certainly looking forward to playing a game. But I think that, we kind of expect disruptions during this season. So how we handle them is probably the most important thing right now. And what we'd like to try to do is try to keep our team in some kind of rhythm relative to, how we practice and how we continue to try to improve to finish the season.
To that front, on Monday, you mentioned about your COVID protocol and really kind of a game plan for guys that wanted to go home and talking with their parents. I'm wondering how that plan kind of formulated, because that was awfully detail-oriented, Coach.
We have a great medical staff here. I think they do a really good job, and I think we all try to have foresight in what can happen. And, you know, everybody trusts their family. I trust my family. But nobody knows where Uncle Tommy's been either. So, you know, you have to still be careful. So that's why we tried to do the best possible educational program. I mean, the options were is don't let the players go anyplace, which is really kind of a punishment. Most of the guys wanted to go see their family. So, you know, I can't verify that we didn't have somebody go someplace that they weren't supposed to go. But if they did, we'll certainly confront them with why they didn't do what we asked them to do. Because if a player did that, he actually doesn't just put himself at risk. He's putting his teammates at risk when he comes back and everybody else. And that's the one thing that our players have been pretty good about so far this year.
All right. I also have wanted to play for you some Ed Orgeron. This was Ed Orgeron from the teleconference this morning as well.
Yeah, you know, I think our team has handled this week very well. At the beginning of the week, we were moved on to Arkansas. We didn't think the Alabama game would happen. Then we kind of thought maybe it could happen, so we went back to Alabama. And then we found out yesterday for sure we wasn't playing. But I want to commend the SEC for doing the right thing for the safety of our players.
Coach, there were some reports that the latest COVID outbreak happened at a Halloween party. I don't know if that's true or not. Do you know if that's true? And would that upset you, or is it just unrealistic to ask college kids not to socialize?
No, I know nothing of that, Jock. And to be honest with you, most of our guys that are out of through quarantine, contact tracing.
And Coach, what's your confidence that you are playing Arkansas next weekend and this thing doesn't get moved around again to try to, you know, make everything work to have you play Alabama?
Yeah, and listen, we want to play Alabama, so whatever happens, we're going to be ready to play. And I understand Greg Sankey's position. This is a fluid deal. But I tell you what, those guys have done a tremendous job of getting us to play. I'm happy we're playing. We knew this stuff would happen this season, so we just got to be ready to go. Whoever they tell us to play, we'll be ready to play.
All right, fam. All right. So that was some audio that we had from Ed Orgeron, and you know, let me know what you guys think in the comment box. Definitely, you know, hit the like and subscribe button. We appreciate you guys being here. Sorry about the issues tonight from you know, from YouTube. I mean, really nothing we can do about it. You can also listen to our show via podcast wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify. You know, certainly go out and help us grow that podcast, and you can listen to it when you're on the go. But of course, we'll have some great content. We have some really great stuff coming your way on Bama Insider tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, as well as on this weekend. We got a couple tricks up our sleeve to help get you through the weekend right here on Bama Insider. So we appreciate you guys watching with us tonight. And, you know, definitely hit us up on the rewatch. My name is Kyle Henderson at BamaInsider.com. Sorry you guys couldn't get to the show tonight, but definitely hit the thumbs up and like and subscribe on the rewatch. I'll be around and probably come, you know, back a couple times this weekend as we continue to cover Alabama Crimson Tide football. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. My name is Kyle Henderson. Have a great night. Hit the thumbs up button, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Good night, fam.